From time to time, controversial things will come across my path. Not everything is controversial, but some stuff, yes. And when the controversial stuff comes, then, I'm quick to watch it, but I'm not quick to react to it. Unless it really annoys the living hell out of me. And then, yeah, I'll start in. But I generally tend to be level headed. Look it over, examine it piece by piece. And then make the ultimate decision after the fact. So when I see certain YouTube videos or things in real life that obviously I don't like, then the answer is always going to be yes, I'm going to speak up. And such as many a case with what we're seeing in today's world is a subject that I'm not going to say I'm touchy on, but I'm very low tolerant to the stupidity that it's dragged itself down into. And that deals with the subject of law enforcement. Now, let me say that there are a lot of cops who are extraordinarily gung ho. They're out to make a name for themselves, they're out to get promoted, and they're going to do any and all things to try to get to that higher ranking promotion that they that they want to basically achieve. And I'm not against promotion, especially for an officer that works their tail off every single solitary day, puts up with a lot of crap, and let's face the facts, they face a lot of crap. Especially from idiots who have this massive hard-on against all police department. And their job is to go out and to be a public nuisance and disrupt the life of sovereign citizens. People who every day get up in the morning, splash water on their face, drink their coffee, take a nice shower, get ready for work 12 hours a day, come home, maybe they eat a little dinner, maybe, and then they're right back to bed again, and it's up with dawn patrol, and they're ready to roll. But see, these are people that don't have that agenda. You see, what their agenda is get up and see how much chaos and mayhem they can cause in a single day. So maybe it's, get up and, go hang out with the boys on the corner, hang out by the local convenience store. Play a little basketball, play some video games. I stay out of your hair, you stay out of my hair. We like it that way. Life's good. Until somebody gets, a plan. A light bulb goes off on the head and says, I think it would be great to be able to go and beat somebody up. And that's exactly what they do. Well, I got to get up and I got to sell my dope. I got to sell my dope. So that's what they do. They get up and they sell their dope. It's about living that life and making that money. And again, as long as nobody's bothering them, they should be allowed to be free to do whatever the hell they want. That law don't apply to me. Well, see, that's where you're absolutely, positively, 100% wrong. The law does apply to you because it applies to all. It applies to the pedophile, the drug dealer, the murderer, the thief, the guy who likes to go around and beat people up. And law enforcement has a job to do at that point. Law enforcement's job at that point is to take you into custody. By any means necessary, but to take you into custody. It doesn't matter if you don't want to be arrested. The point is that you're going to be arrested. And there's not a thing you're going to say or do to get out of it. You will stand tall before the man. So now they have to come up with an improvised plan to get it so that the police don't keep coming after him for speeding and drug dealing and theft and murder, rape, child molestation. And this new improvised attack just comes in a simple one-word phrase that is enough to get people's attention and to get them to back off. Racism. Cry racism. The court will let you go with their complete and utter sympathy. You will have learned your lesson, but you really didn't learn your lesson. You've just been given an ultimate free license, unfortunately, to go back out and commit the same crime. And the more you keep committing that same crime over and over, the more brazen you become. Let's just face the facts. Like the guy who walked into a local CVS. True story, saw it happen. Guy walks into CVS, 5-finger discounts a couple of items, walks out the door. And before store security could nab him, he was gone. They couldn't find him. Now, lo and behold, same CVS, same guy, sometime a little later on, but he came back, right? Why? Because he was going to try his luck a second time. But they waited for him this time because they knew who he was. And before he could bolt out that door, they already had him grabbed and the cops came. Now, you see, back then, people didn't scream racism, 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 oh, well, they were profiling me. They were profiling me, Your Honor. Now, we know damn well that, they're not profiling you for, pardon the pun, shits and giggles. Not like they were profiling them for shits and giggles, folks. They had a legitimate reason to go after them. There was reasonable evidence to believe that he was up to no good. Now, if the cop's hunch was wrong, okay, he's wrong. It's obvious. It's a clear mistake. Wasn't intentional. Cop lets you go, and that's the end of it, right? Small, minor being detained, right? Mere seconds of being detained, so it seems. But they want to turn it into this big song and dance routine. They want to cry about how they're a victim. It's police brutality. All right, now let me explain something. If you didn't grow up in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, you don't know what racism is. You never experienced racism. I can tell you that right now. You have never, ever in your entire life experienced any form of racism. Now, people who grew up in that timeline, They know all about it. Don't believe me? Ask them. They'll tell you. They'll tell you about what they were called, how they were harassed. Churches, houses, firebombed, hung. And there wasn't a court, at least back then, that would be willing to even come close to prosecution. Now, are things different than they were back then? Oh, absolutely. That stuff now doesn't fly. Jim Crow, segregation, gone. Everybody now has civil rights under the Constitution of the law. You can vote, you can eat, you can shop anywhere at any time at any place. And you can't be excluded from the equation. You can't be told, no, we don't allow your kind to shop here. Or we don't allow your kind to eat here. But because people watch movies and because Hollywood sensationalizes all that and more, right? Because that's what Hollywood does. Hollywood sensationalizes all of it. And they have no perception of reality versus what was versus what isn't now. You know, they keep saying all that stuff from that era is still here. Well, no, it's not. You can't find a shred of evidence that says that all that stuff from that era is in this timeline now. And I think one of the greatest examples of What you don't see from that timeline into this timeline is that the police aren't in bed with the Klan like they used to be. Simply put, it's not allowed. If a cop is involved with the Klan, then they have to resign their commission. They cannot be a police officer and work for the badge and still go around wearing sheets and pillowcases and burning crosses in yellow and white power. Just doesn't, it don't work that way. That would be like saying, you know, you're a drug dealer, but you're an FBI agent. You're a high-ranking member of the cartel, but you work for the FBI. You see, you can't have two jobs. You have to pick a side. Either you're a drug dealer, a kingpin, a low-level street dealer, or you're an FBI agent and your job is to bring an end to the drug problem by hauling in the bad guy, doing exactly what you've been told, you have to go out and go do. That's your job. This is why we have deputized you. You have been deputized because we believe that you have the ability to go out, execute the laws of the state on behalf of the government, and do exactly what we expect you to do. That's the job. Are you up for the responsibility? If you are, here you go. Here's your badge, here's your gun. Go get them. But now lawmakers say, well, that's just too mean what they do. We must reform what these police officers do. Basically, you have to now neuter them because they just want to get away with murder and they want to take the bad guys in. And the conflict of interest is one is right and the other is wrong. And the question becomes, who is right? The bad guys say, we're right. We're grown, we can do whatever we want, leave us alone. And the cops say, but I can't do that because that's a dereliction of my duties. If I let you walk away, I have become derelict in my duty. So the lawmakers turn around and say, well, then here's what we're going to do. We, as lawmakers, we will make that decision for you. So now you will do as we tell you to do. Now, if I'm a cop, the first thing I'd say automatically, if that's the case, here's your badge, here's your gun. They're all yours. You handle them. Don't call me, and I won't call you. And at the end of the day, we'll see who needs who. And if enough cops walked out on the job and said, you know what? Yeah, screw this. Not worth it. Let them do whatever they want. They want to burn down buildings? Let them. They want to loot? Let them. They want to beat each other up and kill each other? Let them. And then you can go in and you can start cleaning up the bodies off the streets. Because we're not going to do it. Nope. We're damn sure not going to do it. We don't care how much you beg and scream and cry and plead. We're not going to do it. You are going to have to come up with a brand new way to try to figure out how to stop crime dead in its tracks. And And what happens when TSA and Homeland Security, state police, local police, all tell you to go scratch? Where's your options then? Well, I can tell you where your options are. Your options are that now you have to start using the National Guard. You're going to have to dispense out the National Guard and get the military to do your bidding. That's if they decide that they want to get involved. Because, you see, maybe they don't want to get involved with your garbage either. Maybe they tell you to go scratch. And then you're going to have to be the one who's going to have to restore order from chaos. Because everything else is basically fallen through. You say, well, the police will never do that. Well, I hope it does. I really hope that it does. I hope that it does end up like that. Because it needs to be a lesson well taught. That you don't disrupt the natural order of things. Things were fine just the way they were. If you can't see that they're crying wolf, then that's your problem. That's not the rest. That shouldn't be the rest of the world's problem. That should be your problem. Don't blame it on everybody else. Simply put, just ain't fair.